Hey there, welcome back to Money Moves. I was inspired by a video on YouTube, and in the spirit of the holidays, I want to change the style a bit to make these topics less dry and more lighthearted. Because who needs another boring money lecture when you're going to have one at your Christmas dinner, probably about if you'd bought Bitcoin, you'd be rich by now. Again, on a recent trip to Vegas, I paid almost $7 or about 10 Canadian dollars after fees for a black Starbucks coffee. $10 for a black coffee. Honestly, I thought about sending them my bank statement and asking for emotional damages. And my trip was in September. Recently, just as the holiday travel began to give us some escape from the snow, we're facing the harsh reality. Our Canadian dollar has been losing its value faster than I lose my patience at Costco. So let's address the elephant, or rather the bird in the room. Our beloved Canadian dollar, the looney, is currently trading at its weakest level against the US dollar in 5 years. 5 years. Why is it so weak? It's waddling instead of flying, and there are three big reasons: interest rates, sluggish economic growth, and reduced immigration. Picture this: Canada and the US are like two neighbors hosting parties. Canada's got a cozy backyard barbecue going, polite conversation, sensible 3.75% interest rates, and maybe some butter tarts for dessert. Meanwhile, the US is hosting a full-blown Vegas-style bash with 4.75% rates and rakes. Guess where everyone's showing up with their money? Here's the thing: higher interest rates make a country's currency more attractive, like the extra frosting on a cupcake, and the US has been slathering that frosting thick. It recently jacked rates as high as 5.5% before easing them to 4.75%, still higher than Canada's 3.75%. This creates a yield differential, or what I like to call the grass is greener on the other side effect. But it's not just the current yield gap, it's the expectation of where rates are headed. The US Federal Reserve is signaling we might chill here for a while the Bank of Canada is out here slashing rates like it's Black Friday at a mattress store. As RBC notes, shifting rate expectations have tilted the scales decisively in favor of the US dollar. GDP, short for gross domestic product, is like the report card for a country's economic performance. And Canada, well, let's just say we're not exactly on the honor roll, or like the economists at RBC put it, in simple language, Canada has a growth problem. GDP growth is all about productivity, how much output we are creating per person. Unfortunately, Canada's GDP per capita, fancy talk for economic output person, has been on a slow, sad slide, like a toboggan that forgot it needs snow to function. Senior Deputy Governor of Bank of Canada, Carolyn Rogers, gave a speech about Canada's long-standing, poor record on productivity and said it's an emergency, it's time to break the glass. Economists at TD said that Canada's productivity has gone from bad to worse, and that Canada lags the US across most industries, especially services. RBC had a whole report about how we got here, Canada's journey to low productivity, which could be a great read during your Christmas break. Basically, we've been too reliant on population growth to fuel the economy instead of investing in innovation, technology, and efficient industries. It's like running a bakery and expecting to survive just by hiring more bakers, not realizing your ovens are from the 1970s and burn half the cookies. Meanwhile, our neighbor to the south, the US, is over there bench pressing innovation, flexing its productivity muscles, and casually reminding us who the economic big sibling is. When GDP growth stagnates, international investors notice. And if they think Canada isn't a lucrative place to park their money, they'll take their dollars elsewhere. This lack of investment further weakens the loonie because once again, demand for the currency drops. You know, it's election coming when the federal government announced plans to scale back on immigration. This is not a political channel, and I can see the merits of both sides on this issue. But I'm just going to explain purely from the economic point of view. Immigration isn't just about welcoming fresh faces, delicious international cuisine, and someone new to complain about the weather with. It also plays a significant role in the economy, and lately, we haven't been rolling out the maple-scented red carpet quite as much. Canada's population growth has been a major driver of economic activity for decades. If it was not for the population growth that we had last year, the Canadian economy would have been in a recession at the end of 2023, said Charles Arnold, chief economist with credit union group Alberta Central. He said, immigration kept the economy afloat. Reduced immigration is like throwing a wrench in the gears of the Canadian economic engine. When fewer people move to Canada, we lose out on fresh workers, innovative entrepreneurs, and yes, future TikTok stars. In general, immigrants contribute significantly to consumer spending, housing demand, and most importantly, the taxes that keep things running. So when immigration slows down, it's like the economic party DJ packing up early. Things get quieter and the vibes take a hit. I think of it like fewer people mean fewer homes being bought, fewer trips to Tim Hortons, and fewer friendly debates over whether ketchup chips are a culinary masterpiece or a crime against potatoes. All of this economic activity, or lack thereof, puts less demand on the loonie, making it more like a shy kid at a school dance, staying close to the wall while the US dollar does the electric slide in the middle of the floor. With fewer newcomers to fill job vacancies, Especially in high-growth industries, businesses struggle to grow. And when businesses struggle, the overall GDP takes a hit. A smaller GDP makes Canada less appealing to international investors, who might say, I'll put my money where the action is, like the US. This further weakens demand for the Canadian dollar. And let's not forget about the housing market. New immigrants often rent or buy homes, which adds fuel to the economy. Without that demand, housing slows down, construction workers get fewer gigs, and maybe some small businesses have to close down because of fewer demand. Now, to be fair, immigration also brings challenges, like longer hospital wait times, crowded buses, and that age-old headache, not enough housing supply. But purely from an economic perspective, it's a pretty important piece. Fewer newcomers mean fewer dollars circulating, less innovation, and a slower recovery from economic challenges like inflation and that giant shadow of debt hanging over us all like a bad haircut. So the next time someone says, why do we need more immigration? Just remind them more people equals more economic spice. And right now, our economic curry is tasting a bit bland. The weak looney isn't just bad for travelers, it's bad for anyone who exists in Canada. For starters, it makes imported goods, especially from the US, more expensive. That's $7 iced coffee in Vegas. You're paying $10 when you convert to Canadian dollars. Ever notice how bananas are pricier than last year? That's because most of our fresh produce comes from the US and we're paying more thanks to the exchange rate. And that's just some low-priced items. Imagine buying a car, a laptop, or anything else we don't make here in Canada. Let's not forget, as a country, we love importing from the US. In 2023 alone, we imported $484 billion worth of goods from our southern neighbors. That weaker loonie means higher prices on gas, groceries, and basically everything that isn't Canadian grown, stitched, or brewed. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, I'm not planning a US trip anytime soon, so who cares? Surprise. The cost of that weak loonie shows up everywhere, from your grocery bill to your fuel pump. Those cute boots from an American website. Add an extra 30% for the exchange rate. Suddenly, they're not so cute anymore. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. A weak loonie can actually help if you've got US investments. For instance, I hold some US stocks, and the exchange rate has boosted my returns by about 10% when converting back to Canadian dollars. It's like my investments have been hitting the gym while I binge watch Netflix. If you're looking to invest in US assets though, beware of high currency conversion fees. That's where strategies like Norbert Gambit come in and can help you save a few bucks of our sad currency. I will do a separate video on how to do Norbert Gambit since it's a bit of a separate topic, so hit on that subscribe button to get notified. Alright, you don't have to just sit there while the economy treat your wallet like an all-you-can-eat buffet. Let's talk solutions to keep more of your hard-earned loonies where they belong with you. 1. Save on conversion fee when you can. If you travel, use credit cards with no foreign transaction fees. A few options out there are EQ Bank Card, Wealthsimple Card, they are not credit card but they have no foreign transaction fees, or Scotia Passport Card. You need to make a bigger currency conversion. Look into strategies like the Norbert Gambit. It's a bit of extra effort, but everything adds up when we are poorer. 2. Invest smart, because money that grows is happy money. Hold US assets if you can. A weak loonie makes them worth more in Canadian dollars. Besides, let's be real, the US economy tend to do much better than our economy. Use low-fee platforms like Wealthsimple or Questrade to keep more of your gains. Wealthsimple has zero transaction fee to trade both in the US and Canadian market, so that can add up if you frequently trade. 3. Save smarter. Make money on every dollar. Look for high-interest checking and savings accounts. For savings account, you have to watch out for the expiry date of the savings period, typically 3 to 4 months. For checking accounts, I would just use Wealthsimple. This video is not sponsored by Wealthsimple by any means. I am just a happy user and enjoy their product as they give the highest interest rate for checking accounts in Canada. For more details, check out my deep dive into Wealthsimple. Shameless plug. Maybe. Helpful. Definitely. 4. Shop local. Because bacon tastes better when it's Canadian, imported goods are pricey thanks to the weak loonie. Shopping local isn't just easy on your wallet, it's a love letter to Canadian businesses. Bonus, fewer supply chain headaches, and you get to enjoy that maple syrup guilt-free, knowing you're supporting the economy. I wish we had better news, but unfortunately the loonie, and probably everything you heard in the press about Canada except for the Taylor Swift tour, isn't doing great. But here's the good news, you're smarter than the economy. With a little planning and some clever money moves, you can stay ahead. I can't change the sad fact about our Canadian dollar, but I hope I at least make it fun for you to watch in this holiday season. Every video that I have seen about this topic shows sadness and anger. I do understand why, I feel the same pain too. Unfortunately, neither you nor me can change the value of our sad Canadian dollar, so I'm trying to make it light for you and make you laugh. Because while everything seems more expensive now, laugh is still free. Just look at how my baby laughed. Now, we might not have the magic wand to boost the loonie, but there's a small gesture that can make a big difference, at least to me. If this video brought you a chuckle or a useful tip, consider giving that subscribe button a nudge. It's like a virtual high five that keeps me inspired to create more content for you, so we can all go strong and navigate these tricky financial waters together. Thanks for watching Money Moves. For real though, $10 for a black coffee, I should just go sleeping.